Gani Waranong. Hello, this is East Kimberley Bulletin with Davina Toby Wright. Coming up in this edition, Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley President David Menzel says Wyndham's sewage system is not of this century. Waringarri Media's short film titled Critical Country screens at an important gathering of mobs in Boorloo, Perth. And the festive season nears, with Kununurra's end-of-year Christmas markets and the popular Christmas lights competition about to light up our towns. But first, moves to establish a Kununurra Youth Night Space are on track to be ready by the middle of 2026, Evan Ransley reports.
You may recall our story back in September telling you about the plan to build Kununurra's first youth night space. It's a joint project between Kununurra Waringarri Aboriginal Corporation, or QWAC, Wyndham and MG Corp. QWAC chairperson Hilima Ward says a lot of progress has been made.
Since September this year, we have done a co-design committee with Waringarri, Wyndham and MG Corporation. Also, we had several workshops in regards to gathering information from local community people, youth that was actually on the street, other local representatives that worked within the youth sectors, and just gathered information. Again, like we said, it's the beginning, and we also collected data.
A number of properties are currently being considered for the Kununurra Youth Night Space to be known as KYNS. The Shire-run Kununurra Reimagined Project's Draft Town Centre Master Plan has identified the area between the Splash Park and PCYC as a possible youth quarter. But Miss Ward doesn't think that's the best spot for this night space.
Me, myself personally, as a local Mirrong woman, no it's not, because it'll be too close to town, too close to other kids that are roaming the streets that got somewhere to go. My heart is for the youth that is actually left on the street. So Kununurra Youth Night Space is to allocate safety and primarily for the kids at night.
Ms. Ward says once a site is chosen, they will get community feedback before a final decision is made. She says KYNS will operate from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Thursday to Sunday, based on what young people and families need. Young people will have access to meals, laundry, and a safe space, with a day team following up each morning to continue support. Ms. Ward says though there's still a lot of work to do, the youth night space should be ready by the middle of next year.
Well, with the departments we're actually working with, Wyndham and MG Corporation, Waringarri will consult more with community people, and again, we'll gather more information, and then hopefully by then, July the 1st next year, 2026, we should have everything on the road. We should have a property, so fingers crossed.
And Miss Ward hopes the new night space will improve the situation for vulnerable teens, especially those involved in recent events receiving national media attention for all the wrong reasons.
Hopefully, the kids would have something to look forward to. We would show them the path that no one else has given them or showed them the path. And we're just a new fresh pair of ears to guide them. And I'm really hoping as a local Mirrong woman that KYNS can make a difference.
The Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley has gone on the front foot ahead of the big wet season rains, advising Kununurra locals to be wary of wastewater overflows in our waterways, including the popular Lily Creek Lagoon. Shire President David Menzel made the early morning on his monthly council update with Scotty Day, where he also said that Wyndham's sewage system is not of this century. Nathalia Imbalong has this story.
I'm standing near the site of Kununurra's wastewater plant on Ivanhoe Road, which is fast nearing capacity. And during most wet seasons, we see overflows into our rivers, including the picturesque Lily Creek Lagoon just up the road.
This is GT runoff from the land, washing harmful microorganisms and toxins into our wastewaters. forcing the Shire Environmental Health Services team to issue notices to locals to avoid swimming in recreational waterways near drains or river mouths. Speaking to Scotty Day on Our Breakfast Show, Shire President David Menzel said this overflow is inevitable.
Look, for anyone who's been here for a few years or more, we realise that things get a bit messy when we get these big rainfall events.
Now, it happens every wet season though. I understand Water Corp has been doing some repair works to sewage overflows during the wet season. How's that going?
Look, I'm not 100% sure of what they've been doing there,
Right.
but I think the reality is we know that these huge rainfall events are very hard to contain when you're talking, really big events. So it is inevitable that the wastewater treatment plant will overflow.
The Water Corporation tells us the overflows actually comes from the Kununurra pump station, not the wastewater plant, especially when it gets massive amounts of stormwater. In a statement to us, Water Corp says,
During periods of extremely heavy rainfall, stormwater can enter wastewater networks, causing isolated overflows at pump stations. Water Corporation is working on plans to increase the capacity of the Kununurra wastewater treatment plant over the next 5 years. Further information will be available as plans are developed.
Water Corp has been conducting a review of Kununurra's wastewater scheme, and Waringarri Media understands 2 main options have been identified: to expand the existing plant or construct a new one. It's believed they've opted for an expansion option, which is likely to cost tens of millions of dollars. But Water Corp tells us the review is still ongoing, and once complete will provide an update to the community. One thing's for sure, it won't be a quick process, and likely to take a number of years to roll out. Meanwhile, in Wyndham, the issues are even more critical, with Mr Menzel describing the wastewater system there as not up to this century's standard.
We know Wyndham suffers from not having easy access to a good sewerage system, and that's a consistent advocacy role for our council and for a few other entities that I'm involved with as well.
So you're always keeping that in your mind, and trying to do things up there.
We're always trying to improve the situation, make it easier for people to build or do any sort of improvements. But the sewage treatment works up there the sewerage system up there is not really of this century, that's for sure.
But while the Shire President says he continues to advocate for a sewage treatment plant in Wyndham that's of this century, Water Corp says,
Wyndham has a functioning wastewater treatment plant, and the wider wastewater scheme is operating as intended. The scheme continues to reliably service the community and has capacity to meet future growth.
Great news that Waringarri Media's recent short film titled Critical Country has just screened at an important gathering of mobs in Boorloo, Perth. The 10-minute short takes us on country with newly elected Shire Wyndham East Kimberley councillor Sally Martin. Miss Martin tells us about her battle against proposed critical minerals projects planned on her traditional country near Doondoon. Waringarri Media Board Director Peter Griffiths-Sebastian, who operates Pete's Cultural Adventures, was so moved that he asked organisers of the Blue Climate Justice Summit to show the film at the big gathering. Mr Sebastian was in Perth over the weekend with a group from the Kimberley. The summit was organised by Seed Mob and brought together Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people who are passionate about protecting country and building a just future. Over 70,000 people have seen Critical Country across all Waringarri Media platforms. Well, the festive season is near, with locals gathering for the annual end-of-year Christmas markets over the past weekend, and everyone getting ready for the big Christmas lights competition. Our guest reporter over the school holidays, Dale Paulson from East Kimberley College, brings us the story.
Thanks, Davina. Yes, I'm here outside the Kununurra Leisure Centre, where the Christmas markets were held on Friday and Saturday last week. The markets showcase local art, craft, gifts and food, as well as lots of entertainment.
Heaps of people attended and had a great time. It's a great start to the festive season with beautiful weather and rain around us, adding to the atmosphere. And as we move further into the festive season, the Christmas light competition kicks off next week in Kununurra and Wyndham. The Apex Barrabash team is back to stage this great competition, a real favourite with locals, including me. They might be famous for catching big barra, but this season, the only thing they'll be looking to reel in is the best Christmas lights. Let's hope their lights won't wriggle off the hook. Keep a lookout. The Christmas light competition has 3 major categories, along with a variety of other prizes to be won. The categories include Wyndham and Kununurra town area, out of town, and businesses. Judging will take place on Sunday the 14th of December 2025, so make sure your Christmas lights are sparkling and ready to go. The winners of the Christmas light competition will be announced on Monday the 15th of December 2025, and I'll bring you that on the very last East Kimberley Bulletin a few days later.
Thanks, Dale, who'll join us again in our very last East Kimberley Bulletin for 2025 in 2 weeks' time. Eric Cox Jr. will also be back then for a final look at local sports for the year, including the Kununurra Outdoor Basketball Grand Finals. Hope you can join us again then, with myself, Davina Toby Wright, and the East Kimberley Bulletin team. Please remember to share with your family and friends. If you have a story you think we should follow up, please email us at news@waringarrimedia.org.au. Thanks for joining us. Wishing you a great weekend.